Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're talking about the one, the only, beautiful ICP. Now, you know me, I'm super high on ICP and its technology, and I do believe that we are going to do very well this cycle. But before we jump into it, ladies and gentlemen, coin confessions of the day. Look, it looks like it may go to a billion, and I'm sidelined. What is he talking about? I randomly found Troll at 100K market cap and bought right after, okay, bought right before it started pumping. I sold at a 3x because I went through weeks of brutal pump and dumps in round trips. Now it looks like it may go to a billion market cap and I'm sidelined. I have accepted it and I am happy for whoever retires off that trade. It just wasn't meant for me. That is absolutely brutal. I mean, that is absolutely brutal because the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, this crypto, right? I know it definitely hit 200 million market cap, but if he did buy even, let's just say $50 at 100K and it went to a million, 10 million, 100 million. So we're talking about oh my God. Okay, wait, we're talking some serious numbers. We're pretty much talking about 1,000x over here, 2,000x actually, sometimes 2,000. So even if he put $50, which is by the sounds of it, it sounds like he put a lot more. He would have been up $100,000, right? So if he would have put $100, he would have been up 200K. If he put a couple hundred, I mean, we're getting into like the high six figures, low millions at this point. So yeah, man. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, it's really hard to know the big hitter. I think a lot of people just put in some money and they just forget. And then one day they just come on and they're like, wait, I have six figures. I have seven figures all of a sudden, right? You can always be Mr. Technical and say, well, it's the meme coin called Troll, the troll face. It is kind of worldwide and it is kind of popular. But I mean, I feel like that's always hindsight because if that were the case, I feel like a lot of people would have done it. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. It definitely sucks. But at least he still made a 3x. And listen, people, I'm sure some of you guys have stories too, and it just sucks. I mean, it just sucks, but it is what it is. But you know what doesn't suck, ladies and gentlemen? ICP. Now, ICP is ranked 44 out of the 9,552 active cryptos, currently at $4.91. 2.64 billion in market cap, 65 million in volume in the last 24 hours. In the last month or so, we're down 7.5%. In the last week, we're down 2.23%. In the last day, we're actually up 1.1%. What about the last year? Last year, we're still down. Yeah, last year, we're still down. I guess we're higher in the summer. All time, I mean, all time. That's not even fair. That's not. We started. Okay, we started in heaven and we fell all the way down to hell. All right. I mean, it's just the truth at this point. Like we went from a couple $100. I mean, what? Maybe even more to $4.90. But it's okay. We don't count that. Context was different. Context was different. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still super high on ICP. I still believe it is going to do really well this cycle. I know, right? If you are an ICP fanatic, and even if you just know a good amount of ICP, you already know without going into too much debate, this should be a top 10, crypto in terms of just pure technology, right? And that's without going into too much debate. I'm saying this very lightly. And we know there's a lot of crypto adoption starting to happen. We see America adopting, we see other countries adopting it. And even though altcoins aren't that much in the circle right now, we've seen some kind of ETFs for Solana, I think XRP, Doge, and maybe like a few others like Litecoin. Like we've seen some requests, so we are slowly getting there. But I do ultimately think that when altcoin season is going to happen and the cryptos are going to really pump, the whole world's going to get in on it. I think a lot of companies, rich people, governments are going to race for certain altcoins. It would not surprise me if they start racing for something like ICP. Okay, ICP, Caspa, there's a few other candidates I could see them really trying to accumulate. And ultimately, yeah, I'm still super high on this crypto. Listen, we have obviously sold off in the last few weeks. We were in a good trend already. We were already making good structure and progress. Well, why do I say that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, on halfway through July, we created the highest weekly candle we've ever had. Okay, when we go and close and look at the, close out the noise, we can see that this blue candle is higher than all of these blue candles. And the next highest one was pretty much mid to late February. Okay, so we can see we printed the highest one. And then, when we did go down, we did have a higher low at 512, then boom, 483. So we were preparing to blast off. Now, unfortunately, we did break structure. We did lose momentum, but it's not necessarily over, right? It is not necessarily over. Also, we have pretty much just been ranging, let's just say between an average of 590 and 470, pretty much 4 months now. Now, for me, this is still an indicator that these are going to be the bottoms, okay? Because very, very simple lesson, ladies and gentlemen. When the market starts selling off, they eventually start going sideways, right? And eventually from sideways to going back up. We have been going sideways for months now. The probability of us closing below, 430, 420 and selling off to the downside is extremely, extremely rare and extremely, extremely hard. For me, this is one of those things where we are solidifying the structure, making sure that this structure is big, solidified, and that we practically never come back here unless maybe, bear season or something. But at that point, we'd have to see how high ICP goes. I think we only ever would see this type of price if ICP would go to like $30. Then I could see ICP going back to $60, okay? But for me, I don't think ICP is going to flop. I still think there's an altcoin season. Some people call me crazy, too optimistic, delusional for thinking this. For me, I just see the same thing building up, right? I see the same thing building up. We have 1, 2, line, down, fail to go higher, lower. 1, 2, line, pretty much go down, fail to go up, then we go lower, and then we go sideways, and then we're looking to reverse, right? The difference is that it's taking longer because it's going to be a bigger pump. You have to understand, if it took last time a whole year to prepare, right, going sideways and down, and then finally pumping up, it's going to take longer, right? This whole down period and sideways period is going to take longer for the most part. Why? Well, because, ladies and gentlemen, it plans on going higher. Every time there's more money involved, you have to realize it takes longer for this cycle to play out. A little meme coin, let's say with that million, it goes to 1 million market cap, then back down to 200K market cap. This can cycle out within like a week or two, or even maybe a couple days sometimes, right? It really just can cycle out so quickly. But a crypto with billions of market cap already, right? Because that's where we're at. We are at billions. We're at 2.63 billion. So we're not no little medium boy. We're not no small. We are a titan. Okay, we're a titan of a crypto. Okay, this does take a while to pretty much solidify a bottom and to really brew up a pump. Okay, you have to remember, we have to go sideways for some time before the official pump comes here. That is just how the markets work, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I use this analogy kind of in a different video, but I'm going to use it here too. Think about it like this. Anyone can kind of lift, 1 pound, 5 pounds, but the higher you go, the more you're going to have to train. Okay, the more you're going to need some type of, material and equipment, the better you're going to have to sleep, eat, the more months it's going to take. And eventually you can lift that heavy weight. And it's the same thing with this, right? 2.6 billion market cap, that's heavy, right? These markets need time to really build it up, to really pull back that catapult. Because once it launches, people, it really shouldn't stop pretty much until the end of altcoin season. I still believe, if ICP were to really just dud out this cycle and just be a flatline failure, we should still hit roughly $30. So I still think on the crappiest of crappy ends, you should still be making a 6x, which I guess technically is obviously better than nothing. But I still believe that we are looking to be contesting these areas over here, roughly around $70 at the low end, probably even going upwards and sweeping this $87 mark, probably even going up to a $90 or maybe $100 before we really, really sell off. I really do believe that. Now, all of this question, right? All of this stuff on the side of the structure, that is more of a question mark. That may happen with a double pump. That may happen if there's a lot of money this cycle. But in terms of probability, I mean, the $30 should get swept. The $70 should be a extremely highly likely target. And, the highs getting swept should be a decent probability as well. But yeah, that is ultimately it. Let me know where you think ICP is heading. Let me know what you think of this technology. Is ICP your only crypto? Are you holding other cryptos? Are you tired of this market, or are you just, excited? Because I'm personally am. I know it's a little long, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth it as long as you just cash out. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.